Hey there YouTube, this is Showcase Watches. Today bringing you a video about what to look out for when getting into watches, and this comes from a viewer's email that was sent in. This is from Tony. Now Tony emailed in. I call him a viewer because he calls himself a fan of the channel, but you know I'm not a fan of having fans. You know, I have viewers. To say I have fans is a bit egotistical, so I like to say it's a viewer. So a viewer of the channel, Tony, he is looking to get into watches. He's currently got a TAG Heuer Aqua Racer, and he's looking to get his next piece, and he's looking to build a collection, and he's asked me to give my opinions on what he should do moving forward and how to build a collection. He's changed his job, so he's on a higher income now. So he's changed his job, he's on a higher income, and he's looking to build a watch collection and add one watch per year. And how should he go about doing this? So I think this is a really good question, because this is something that maybe isn't talked about so much. Certainly by me, I tend to look at watches that I own, or look at watches that I'm interested in, and report back to you guys my opinions on them, etc., etc. I think it's easy to skip past the beginning of the journey. And so what I'm going to do is just sort of go all the way back to the beginning of the journey, and how I think, in my humble opinion, what you should do if you're looking to get into the hobby or build a collection. Before I start, I'll do a quick wristwatch check, which is today I'm wearing the Submariner Hulk. This is the 116610. That's right, is it? Yeah, 116610 LV. So this is the Submariner Hulk, 2017 Submariner Hulk. So currently he's got a TAG Heuer Aqua Racer, which technically speaking, most YouTubers, or most YouTubers who are into the luxury, semi-luxury watches would call a TAG Heuer a bit of a shitter. Now, it's not strictly true. The TAG Heuer is a fine watch. I think where the term the shitter comes from is they do use ETA movements. They don't, as a rule, use in-house movements. The build quality isn't as good as brands like, if you were to go the next tier up and look at like Tudor, Omega, Breitling, Rolex, and so on, the quality of the build isn't as good as those watches, but the TAG Heuer is still a damn fine watch. It's still, I would put it above an Oris, I'd put it above a Longines, I'd put it above a Hamilton and that type of thing. So TAG Heuer is by no means a crap watch. It's a very good watch. And the Aqua Racer is a fantastic watch. I mean, I owned one myself. It was my first ever watch. I owned a quartz Aqua Racer. I think it was it the Grand Date, I think it was called, something like that. It was a quartz watch, 42 millimeters, I think, 42 or 43. It was a chronograph 300 meter diver. It was a great watch, and it got me into the hobby. And I think this is the beauty of TAG Heuer. TAG Heuer is the brand. It's the worm on the hook. TAG Heuer seems to be the worm on the hook that pulls people into the hobby. So from that perspective, I love TAG Heuer. I have nothing against them at all. In fact, I have quite a lot of respect for TAG Heuer in a lot of ways. But I have to give, when I give advice, when I put myself out there onto YouTube and give my advice on a subject, I have to do it responsibly. And when I say that, I mean I have to give responsible advice in the sense of, I'm not going to tell someone go out and buy this watch for £5,000, take it home, wear it for a week, and then it's worth £2,000. That's irresponsible for me to say that, because I'm advising someone to basically lose £3,000. So we have to talk about, despite how vulgar and how people don't want to talk about value of watches, it is relevant. And to somebody who's going to be adding one watch per year, this is clearly a guy who isn't a wealthy, rich guy. This isn't a guy who's got hundreds of thousands spare to waste. This is a working class guy who's had a promotion at work, who's wanting to build a collection. It's important that he builds a good horological collection, but also he's not losing his shirt in the process. So there's two ways you can attack this. There's two options you've got. One is you buy the watches that don't lose money. Now, when I say that, I mean you get on the wait list with Rolex, you play the authorized dealer games, and you buy currently the hot ones are the stainless steel sports models. Who knows what it's going to be in 10 years' time? It's a roll of a dice. I'm not talking about investment. That's a different thing. If you're looking to invest, don't buy watches. What I'm talking about is money retention. So it's you buy something for 5,000 and it's worth 5,000 when you come to sell it. It's money retention, not investment. So you can get into certain brands like that, and you can build a collection slowly, adding one piece per year like that. Now, if you did it with Rolex, you're going to have to suck it up and buy some, not crap watches, but some watches that you might lose your shirt on, or some jewellery that you might lose your shirt on, to get with the authorised dealer. Now, my advice to you is this, is get your friends, get your family, tell them all. If they're looking for jewellery, if they're looking for a watch, if they're looking for anything, let you know. And then take them to the store, let them do the shopping at the store, and let them use your reputation to purchase their goods. That is a good way of getting the authorised dealer to know who you are. You build a credit file with them. You build a reputation with the dealer without spending your own money. Now, I'm not saying go out and tell all your family, spend thousands just so I can buy a watch. If they're going to buy an engagement ring, if they're going to buy an anniversary gift, if they're going to buy something anyway, try and get them to go into that store with you and use your face and your reputation to build that relationship. If you do that and you're looking to add one Rolex per year, and you are upfront and you tell your dealer, this is what I want to do. This year I want to buy an Explorer 1. Next year I want to buy a Submariner. The year after that I want to buy a GMT. The year after that I want to buy an Air King or a Milgauss. And then the year after that I want to get a Daytona. That's how you do it. But to get to the Explorer 1, you probably need to buy some Tudors. You might need to buy some, jewellery. There's massive markup on jewellery. Chains, rings. That's the big profit numbers for the jewellery, for the store. If you've got half a dozen family members or friends who want to buy an engagement ring or a chain or whatever it may be, if you can get them through the door first, that will get your foot in the door for the Explorer 1. After you're on once you're on the first tier of the ladder with the Explorer 1 or Milgauss or Air King or whatever it may be, once you're on tier 1, then you can go up. Getting your first hot piece is the difficult task. Then you go up and you can do it that way. That's if you're going to go on Rolex. If you're going to go on other brands like Tudor, Omega, or whatever, buy pre-owned or buy with a very good discount. Now, a lot of people fall into the trap of, particularly over here in the UK, we have 0% interest deals with most dealers. So you can buy, let's say, an Omega Speedmaster. You can buy an Omega Speedmaster Professional on 0% finance. So everybody thinks they've got a great deal. They're not paying any interest. Fantastic. Let's buy it. It costs you £80 a month or whatever it is. So people think this is a great idea. In truth, you can walk into that authorised dealer with cash or with your credit card and you can buy that same watch for 20% discount. So you're not getting 0% finance. You're actually paying 20% APR, which is extortionate. So it's not a good idea. The best thing to do is to look on the sites. Look on eBay. eBay is a realistic, that gives you the true value. Chrono 24 is pretty handy. Probably knock off roughly about 10% because Chrono 24 tends to be a little bit on the heavier side. Knock off 10%, that'll give you the true value. Check out the social media groups. Join, if you're looking for an Omega Speedmaster, join the Omega Speedmaster Facebook groups. Network, get networking amongst the groups and just put it out there. Be truthful. Just join the Omega Speedmaster group and say, hey guys, I'm looking for an Omega Speedmaster. What can you tell me? You'll find that people throw offers at you. I've got an Omega Speedmaster, I've got an 1861, I've got an 861, I've got a whatever. These are the good places to be. You can chat with people. You can watch what people are talking about. You can learn from these people. So education in watches is everything. If you're wanting to build a good collection, a well-balanced collection, and you're not going to lose your shirt in the process. So it's not about buying it for 5,000 and selling it for 10,000. That's flipping. That's you do that, and your dealers won't touch you. So don't flip. That's that is a sin in the watch industry. That is a sin. Do not flip watches. I flip watches, but in the sense of I will buy it pre-owned, I will sell it pre-owned. That's not the same thing. That's me buying it, having a bit of fun with it, moving it on. What I'm talking about is when you walk into a Rolex authorized dealer, buy your Explorer 1, walk out, stick it online for sale, and make 3,000. That's flipping, and that is what most watch enthusiasts hate, and they hate about the flippers. So don't do that. That's not a good thing. If you're looking at tag, you've got a tag Heuer. Tags are a fine watch. Just make sure you get them pre-owned. I'm not saying to you don't buy tag because they're this, that, and the other. That's not my place to say that. You might love tag. It might be your brand of choice. Just make sure that you look at what they're worth on eBay and make sure you're paying around about that price for it. So that then in 2 years' time, if you decide you want to move house, you want to buy a new car, you want to do something and you need to release the equity in the watch, you can sell it, and you might not get your money back, you might not make money, but you're not going to lose a lot either. You go out and buy a Tag Heuer brand new with no discount and then try and sell it, you're going to lose your shirt. That's not the case with most Rolex. Most Rolex, you will probably make money. The occasional Tudor will crop up where for a short period of time you'll make money, but eventually the production catches up with the demand. So the Tudors start off mega hot and then they get sort of tepid towards the end. And using the Tudor Black Bay 58, the Tudor Black Bay 58 Blue, the Tudor GMT Pepsi, all of those watches super hot at one point. Now you can get them online at retail, and if you look at pre-owned, you can get a discount. So Tudor is a brand that's a really, really good brand. Bit of a tricky brand to get out of, I'll be honest. I've had a couple of Tudors, and when you try and get out of them, it's a little bit tricky to sell. Omega is an easy one to sell if you ever want to get out of it. Omega Seamaster's fantastic watch, Omega Speedmaster, fantastic watch. They're watches that you can get into. I wouldn't say cheaply. They're still, you're still talking a few thousand. So they're not cheap, but they're very, very good quality, and you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. An Omega Speedmaster is an icon. The only watch in existence that can compete with the Omega Speedmaster for an iconic status is the Rolex Submariner, which wearing today. The Rolex Submariner is an icon. The Omega Speedmaster is an icon. The Rolex Submariner is super hot. You cannot, or very, very difficult to get one at retail. The Omega Speedmaster, you can walk into any Omega authorized dealer and buy one at a good price. You get 20% discount, or you buy it pre-owned and you get maybe 20 or 30% discount. So the Omega Speedmaster is a fantastic addition to any collection. I have an Omega Speedmaster in my collection. I have the Caliber 321, the Ed White, just simply because my love for Omega and my love for the Speedmaster is a little bit higher than the average watch owner. When I say that, I mean you might meet a watch enthusiast who's got a box of 15 watches in it, and in there is an Omega Speedmaster because it's an icon. He wants to tick the icon box, he wants to tick the Omega box, he wants to tick the Moonwatch box. He wants the Speedmaster in his collection. My love of the Speedmaster is a little bit higher than that, so the watch I chose is a little bit higher than that, and hence why I've got the Ed White. But ultimately, it's a Speedmaster. Any Speedmaster is a cool watch. I always recommend the Hesselite or the Sapphire Sandwich, but certainly the Hesselite is the true to the original. I'd go for that one. In terms of actually building the collection itself, it's important to work out who you are and who you are as a person and your lifestyle. If you are, and again, take myself, I have not worn a suit for probably 4 years. I've not worn a suit. So for me to have a dress watch is a waste of time. I'd never wear it. As beautiful as dress watches are, and as much as I can look at them and admire them and appreciate them, it would be a waste of time and money me owning a dress watch. I am shorts and a t-shirt guy. I'm jeans and a t-shirt guy. I'm out most days, walking the dogs. I'm, trekking somewhere or doing whatever. I've got an active job. I work outdoors. You know, for me to wear a dress watch would be a waste of time. So I choose to, wear stainless steel sports models, whether it be Omega, Rolex, TUDOR, whatever it may be. I need a watch that will take a bit of a hammer in the sense of I can knock it and it's not going to, shatter into a million pieces. I'm not saying I beat the watches up. I'm just saying I need something that, can take a little bit of use, a little bit of use, a little bit of abuse. So, look at yourself. What type of person are you? If you're always in a dress suit, if you're always dressed smartly, then dress watches are fantastic. And there's some great bang per buck, particularly in the Omega line. You can buy some fantastic Omega dress watches for hundreds, not thousands. You can buy some beautiful Omegas. The Rolex Cellini line is, it's a good value line. You're buying a Rolex, a beautiful Rolex watch, well made, for, not colossal money in terms of, Patek Philippe and VC and AP and things like that. Work out who you are. Pick the watches based on your lifestyle requirements is the crucial thing. Work out your budget. Are you going to go all in and say, right, I'm going to buy, my first watch that I buy is going to be my Grail. It's going to be my big boy. And then from there, I'll work down. Or do you start small and work your way up? Decide on what your budget is. Decide on how long you want to collect watches for. What's your end result? Do you want to collect, do you want 3 in the collection? Do you want 5 in the collection? Do you want 10? Do you want 20? Work out how many you want. Work out how much you want to spend on them and break it up. Me personally, I think 3 watches is the magic number. I have 1 for the week, which is my Submariner. This is my work watch because I can wear it. It's a stainless steel sports. It's a sub. It's a tool watch through and through. This can take everything I can throw at it. So this is my work watch. On the weekend, I wear my Rolex GMT Batman. And if I'm going out somewhere, I'll wear my Ed White, my Speedmaster Ed White. So that to me is that's all I need in my life is those 3 watches. They tick the 3 boxes: chronograph, GMT, dive watch. Your other box, or your other 2 boxes would be field watch, dress watch. So 5 is arguably the best number because you've got GMT, chronograph, diver, field watch, and dress watch. If you want a rounded collection, 5 pieces would be perfect. For me, 3 works fine. I would rather have 3 top end than 5 average. That's just me. So in my opinion, the Submariner Hulk is my favourite Submariner. It's probably one of the most desirable Submariners. I've got the GMT Batman, which is here. That's, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I prefer this to any of the other GMTs. And then I've got the Ed White. I feel the 321 Ed White is the best Speedmaster. Hence why I've got those 3 watches. I could reduce this down to a no-date Submariner and have maybe 6,000 or 7,000 extra in the bank. I could reduce my Ed White to a standard Speedmaster Professional and use the change of those 2 watches to go out and buy 2 more watches and have 5. I could do that. I choose not to. I'd rather have quality than quantity. That's just my personal preference. It completely depends on what you're wanting to get out of this. When you're getting involved with the social media, when you're getting involved with the YouTube stuff, it can be a little bit toxic, so you've got to see through that. You meet some fantastic people in the industry and in the hobby and in the community. You really do. You meet some fantastic people and you make good friends. You also meet some very toxic people and you make some enemies. Look past that. It's just smoke and mirrors. It's just BS. It's keyboard warriors just sat there in the mum's basement with nothing to do. So just see past that. Just don't worry about that. Focus on the positive. You've also got, one of the things you've sadly got to look at is your geographical position. Where do you live? Do you live in a high crime rate area? If you do, maybe wearing a solid gold Daytona on your wrist isn't the wisest thing. If you live somewhere with very low crime and you live in a really good area, you can get away with wearing some nice watches. If you live in a high crime area and somewhere that you're um, more open to attack and there's more people working the watch scam or working the watch crime. And what I mean by that is there'll be people over here in the UK. You're walking along on a summer's day, your wrist is on show. There's a spotter, someone spots that you've got a whatever watch. They will follow you, and they will pounce on you. And it can be on mopeds, it can be on whatever. But it'll be 3 or 4 blokes will pounce on you, and they will do anything to get that watch off you. They will threaten you to get that watch off your wrist. Do you want to be a target for that? Is a big question. And it was one of the reasons I let my Rolex Daytona Panda go. The Daytona Panda is so easy to spot and such a high value item that I just didn't want to be in that position. And it would attract that attention if I was in the wrong place. So, but that is something you've sadly got to bear in mind. How comfortable will you feel with these value watches on your wrist? That's the beauty of something like a Tudor. You know, Tudor, chance of getting knocked over the head for a Tudor, slim. Same with Omega, you're probably not going to get much hassle over Omega. Rolex, unfortunately, does attract it. You will get some unnecessary attention with a Rolex, possibly. I'm not trying to scare you off Rolex, I'm just saying that is a consideration. I would hate for you to spend, all your money on Rolex and then realise that whenever you went out the door, you were having to cover your wrist up. So it's something to consider. I would say work on your foundations. Get your foundations right. So you've got your tag. Keep that. Keep your tag. It's your first step into the hobby. Keep your tag as your daily beta watch. Then add something along the lines of an Omega Speedmaster would be a fantastic first watch. Your second watch, something like a Rolex Explorer. Be a beautiful watch. Submariner, GMTs. You could buy some nice Tudors. You could go, when you know more about watches and you know what to look for, there's an entire universe of vintage to explore, and which I've only dabbled. I have just dabbled with a few vintage GMTs, and I really like those. They are, I think the 1980s Rolex are probably where my heart is at. I love the 1980s Rolex. I think they're super cool. Unfortunately, I'm not enough of an expert on it, or an expert in the slightest, it's a frightening, vintage is a frightening area that I don't know enough about, so I don't invest in. Modern, you can't really go wrong. Oh, and another thing to say, try where possible to always buy with box and papers. That's quite important, especially with modern. You will be if you buy a watch from the 1980s that's missing its paperwork, that's forgiven because a long time's passed. If you're buying a watch that's 3 or 4 years old, there's no real reason why that paperwork should be missing. So, just be careful with that. Obviously, always check that it's authentic. Go see a professional, your local jeweler, your local AD, get it checked. That's probably rule number 1, to be honest. And check for fakes. That's another obvious one. But check YouTube, guys. There's hundreds of videos out there to spot. Just type in whatever watch you're looking at and then fake, and it'll bring up a video with somebody will have done a side-by-side comparison. Spotting out fake watches. It's pretty easy, to be honest. I've only ever come across one fake Rolex, and it was obvious. If you've held enough of them, if you've done enough with these watches, you can spot a fake one. A lot of them with your eyes closed, you can put them in your hand and feel them. You can tell the difference. Even the super fakes, which do feel quite good to the touch, you can look at them. You can tell the difference. If you've handled enough of them, that comes with experience and time. So don't worry about that. So that's what I mean. I just banged my Submariner against the table there. That's about the advice I can give you, really, guys. I mean, the key thing is do not. This watch hobby is like any other addiction. It can suck you in, and it can suck you into a dangerous level if you're not careful. You've got to be controlled. You've got to be sensible. If you have an addictive personality, or you have self-control issues, if you're someone who can't not do something, be careful. What I mean by that is, if you're somebody who would get into a hobby, let's say for argument's sake you take up, I don't know, golf. You then will buy a new golf club, and then you think, oh well, I want to buy another golf club, and then you buy another, and then another, and before you know it, you've spent thousands on these golf clubs, thousands that you might not have. Watches is like that, but amplified. So with watches, you know, whereas a golf club, you might. I've got mine in the background. My Scotty Cameron putter, £400. If you think about that, that's expensive for a putter, right? But if it, in watch terms, that could be a Rolex Submariner for 10,000. Then that's just one golf club. You know, that's just one watch. Then you're adding the next one, another 10,000, another 10,000, another. People get themselves into trouble with credit card and loans. Keep away from it. If you do not have it handy, if you cannot afford it, do not buy it. Do not use credit card. Do not. A little bit's okay as long as you've got the meat. But before you swipe the card, have in your head a strategy to pay it off over a short term. Do not get yourself into trouble, guys. It's easy to watch YouTube channels of people that are, you know, they've got expensive watches on the wrist and think, oh, I want one of those. You know, if he can do it, I can do it. That's easier said than done, because believe me, guys, you can get into trouble. You're currently at a Tag Heuer now. Do not jump straight in at the deep end. Tag Heuer, in my opinion, your next step up from a Tag Heuer, a natural progression, jump into Omega. You can buy some beautiful Omega watches. I would jump into Omega from where you are now. I think jump into Omega, superb watches. There's some beautiful Breitlings, the Super Ocean Heritage. If you've got a bigger wrist, the Navi Timer. Tudor is a very good brand. I mean, and it's good bang per buck. And I think Tudor has got it's certainly got a good lineage and a good history behind it. And I think Tudor's got a very good future ahead of it. So Tudor might be where it's at, you know, and you can buy some very, very good watches for a very reasonable price. So maybe from where you are now, a Tag Heuer, the next step up from that might be a Tudor. And don't worry particularly about getting chronograph GMT. Don't be too rigid with it. Just have fun and buy what you like. That's the key of this. Have fun, buy what you like, and buy what you can afford. They would be the three key things I would stick to when building a collection. So let me know what you guys think. Is there any other advice you can offer? What do you guys, what would you guys say? And I know that one of the first comments is going to be, don't listen to Showcase Watches. That'll be one of the first bits of advice somebody will give, I know. But is there any advice you can give as to how best to build a collection? I'd really like to know, guys. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment, check out my other vids, and I will catch you guys in the next one. So take it easy and stay safe.